So, folks, let me move on to the next speaker. We have Anand Vyas as our next speaker. Just, so, Anand, I would like to welcome you for another interesting topic, which is TestNG versus JUnit 5. It's like the clash of the titans for all of us. I will be a little bit biased. My personal favorite is JUnit 5. But anyways, coming to introduction to the Anand, with over 18 years of experience in IT, Anand is a continuous integration architect who has helped create DevOps solution and mentor and coach teams in the area of optimized DevOps implementation. He's passionate about community-driven learning, especially in the area of technology. Anand, once again, a warm welcome, and we are excited to learn which works best, TestNG or JUnit 5. Over to you, Anand.
Thank you very much. Yeah, give me a minute.
Sure.
Give me a minute, please.
Yes, now we can see your screen.
Yeah. Today, our topic, as currently mentioned, that it is a clash of titans, and both JUnit 5 and TestNG both are equally compatible for our real-time work, and they are popular in our test community. Yeah. So let us try to understand the chronology. Like in 2002, basically it was working with JUnit. I mean, that was launched as a part of XUnit. Okay. But it was having some deficiencies, and people thought that why not to overcome, and they get frustrated just to inspire by.
Sorry to interrupt. Are you sharing a full screen of your slides?
Just a second. I'm sharing the slide.
Okay, we can actually see. You're not sharing the full screen, right?
You are not in the presentation mode, Anand sir, basically.
Just a second. Let me check it again.
Sure.
Check this. Let me share my desktop. Okay. That's fine?
Yeah. Now it's full screen. Thanks.
Yeah. So we were talking about the chronology. Now it is better?
Yeah, now it's better.
Yeah. So in 2002, they came up with JUnit, which was a part of XUnit, and it was helping in working as a testing framework. But still, as the time evolves, people were getting frustrated, and there were some deficiencies definitely in JUnit. And basically, in 2004, TestNG came, and that stands for Test Next Generation. So they claimed that it's really a next generation, and it is a cutting-edge technology, I mean testing framework, which fulfills all the requirements in our testing community for automation of application, web applications, and it caters to all methodology, like it serves for unit testing, it serves for end-to-end testing, integration testing, and so on. So it was quite good, and later on, in 2017, actually, this JUnit 5, that is the newer version of JUnit 4, and they have overcome all the drawbacks, or most of the drawbacks, which were present in JUnit. Okay, So that came up as JUnit 5. Okay. So now it was the time, I mean, we can compare if I would say if it is not better than TestNG, then at least it is at par with TestNG. Okay. So depending upon different scenarios and your use cases, means you may be fan of one tool over the other. Okay. But yeah, I mean, we can compare, we should compare these two tools, and really it is a clash of titans situation. Okay. In general, first of all, let me tell you that both JUnit 5 and TestNG, they are working with programming language Java. So both are test automation frameworks, and both are for Java as a programming language. Another similarity, I would say, both are open source. Okay, so you have a lot of community support, and things are open source, so that is also quite helpful. At the same time, both the tools, they are providing support. They are working equally well with most of the major IDEs which are using, like Eclipse, IntelliJ, or NetBeans. Okay, and this is the URL for JUnit 5 if you want to see more details. Similarly for TestNG, which stands for Test Next Generation. Now, there could be a lot of features on or the basis on which we can carry out comparison. Some of them we will see with executing the codes, hands-on type of feeling, we would get it. So, first of all, like open source framework, right? As I mentioned, both are open source framework, both are supporting more major IDs. Okay. Then it comes MAVEN integration. Obviously, we are working with the Java, so mostly build management tool is mostly we are using MAVEN. And by having said this, even both the tools supports for Gradle also, but we will keep our focus with MAVEN as a build management tool. Okay, and we will see some of the MAVEN integration, and like next we will be discussing point by point about annotations, which are the annotations which are available there. Okay, I will just briefly read them out, like ordering of the text or a particular sequence. How we can, one tool helping us. Okay, similarly, like grouping of tests, whether TestNG supports or JUnit 5 supports or not supports. Okay. Similarly, to run the test suites. Okay. So whether it is supported, ignoring test. Okay. I want to ignore some test, specific test. Okay. I can do so or no. If yes, how I can do this? Exception test, timeout. There is another feature, assumption support, which is supported by JUnit 5 only, not by TestNG. Then parameterization, which is an important aspect. We can inject our primitive data type or objects through parameterization and data provider, because if it is not there, for example, in JUnit 4, it was completely missing, and that's why that was giving an edge to TestNG. So that is the data provider feature. We will see a simple sample example for this. And then dependency test, like for example, can we run a particular test method which depends on some other test method's execution? Okay, so that is dependency test, and that is also missing in JUnit 5. And then assertion supports, both tools are quite equally well. Parallel testing, again here TestNG is taking a lead. And listener implementation, again, TestNG will take a lead over JUnit 5. And reporting, yeah, TestNG has got its own reporting, HTML reporting, which can be provided, but it can be clubbed with extent report. Okay. So just moving further to my first point of comparison was for MAVEN integration. So MAVEN integration, if we want to see that how the architecture of JUnit 5 is provided, it is basically a collection of 3 sub-projects or 3 modules, I would say. So JUnit 5 is basically comprising of 3 modules, and one is JUnit Platform, second one is JUnit Jupyter, and third one is JUnit Vintage. Now, the purpose of JUnit Platform is it is providing the foundation for launching the test framework, whereas this Jupyter, which is actually providing a test engine for running the Jupyter-based test on the platform. And mostly, this is the most useful module which we use in our automating the test. And Vintage, basically, it provides a test engine for providing some compatibility kind of thing. For example, running JUnit 3 and JUnit 4 based test on our platform. Whereas if I compare in terms of number of modules or distributed modules, TestNG is a single module. Okay, only one module is there comprising of all the features with that module only. Okay, now just a second. All right. So if we want to see the MAVEN integration, then obviously we will go for this MAVEN project, and I would like to show you a typical pom.xml, which is meant for the configuration for all the dependencies in our MAVEN projects. Okay. So if you see, if I want to include dependency for JUnit 5, now here I am thinking that I would be using Jupyter module for my most of the use. Then I would be including this dependency for Jupyter. Okay, and as you can see, this is version 5. So basically, this is JUnit 5. You can see. Okay. Now, it is also possible that in the same project, I may work with JUnit 4 also simultaneously. So it is not a just version upgrade of JUnit. Like, for example, if I want to use JUnit 4, I can include JUnit 4 dependencies, something like this, where I define that JUnit and its version is 4.11. So it is basically representing the dependency corresponding to JUnit 4. And I'm not overriding this version by 5 or some other version. Okay. And both are working fine side by side. I can use in the same project, same pom.xml, JUnit 5 as well as JUnit 4. All right. So this is how we should specify our dependencies in our pom.xml. And vis-a-vis simply, I mean to say, if we want that I might use this another modules, like I want to use compatibility with my JUnit 3 or JUnit 4, and I want to run on this Jupyter new platform, then I have to include this Vintage, okay, in my system. All right, but there is no such restriction or dependency in the case of TestNG, because it is containing a single module, And again, it is a subjective matter. Means some people they feel that because of user friendliness, if we talk about user friendly, then they may think, okay, that JUnit 5 is not that much user friendly as my TestNG is. Okay, different people can have different opinions, but according to me, I mean, both are equally capable. And in terms of setup and use of these dependency for different modules, that doesn't matter much because it is simply a one-time activity for setting up my project. Now, coming to dependencies for TestNG, I mean, current version is 7, but I have used 6.14. All right. So this is how we can include our dependency for TestNG. So just to get a feel of some sort of SWOT analysis, like strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat, we can carry out this kind of analysis for different bases. We can compare both the tools, but in terms of this MAVEN integration, I feel that both are the strengths of respective tools. Okay, so there is nothing less or more strength I can compare, but only thing I can see that both the tools should reside in this this quadrant of strength. All right. Now let us move further, and as I said, there would be a lot of annotations that would be used. Okay, and to understand it better, let us try to understand what is the hierarchical structure of TestNG annotation, and we would be comparing on similar lines with our JUnit 5 also. So basically, TestNG is comprising of 4 levels. The topmost level, we will call it as a suite level. Then underneath suite, we would be having test. Underneath test, we would be having class. And underneath class, we would be having method. So there are 4 levels of hierarchy of TestNG annotations. Okay. Now, if we want to carry out some activities which we think that is a kind of setup before executing my entire suite, then I may use this annotation that is before suite. So before suite, these annotations, wherever I have mentioned in front of any method, that would be executing before execution of anything in that particular suite. That is the topmost hierarchical structure. And similarly, I can use before suite, and at the end of execution of everything in my suite, I want to perform some cleanup activities. I may use this @ after suite. All right. Similarly, for every level, we can think of like @before test, @after test. This is for the test hierarchical structure. And similarly, before class, after class, they are meant for some methods which we want to run for before execution of any of the method in that class, that would be carried out into with the help of @before class. Yeah. Similarly, for the method level, we will be having @method before method and @after method. This is our test method level. Okay, this is the lowermost granular level in which we can define our cleanup activities as well as our initialization activity. So I hope this structure understanding will give us quite help in understanding that what could be what could be the comparison levels for different annotations. There are annotations like @test. Okay, this is for specifying that which method is my test method. Okay, so for example, sorry. So for example, I have written one TestNG class. Okay, so in this class named alpha test, I may have multiple methods. If I expand this, we can see there are 5 methods: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the names are just first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Okay, but if I specify this annotation in front of them @test, then I am declaring actually that this first method is a test method. Similarly, second method is a test method, third is a test method, fourth is a test method, and so on. Okay. Now, similarly, in case of a let's say JUnit method also. Okay. If anything I define @test, this annotation means this method is a test method. Similarly, the second method is a test method, right? Now, if you see this comparison table, then you can see if we talk about this @test annotation with the same name that is available in JUnit 5 also. Okay, so @test, @test, both are available in JUnit 5 as well as TestNG. Okay, now moving further, as we discussed that there is the topmost hierarchical level is the suite, and anything we want to perform as a initialization activity for the entire suite, then that is the candidate for this before suite method, annotation. And if after executing all the things in my test suite, I want to clean up some activity, I want to release some resources, or I want to remove um, something as a cleanup activity, I can perform those things under a method which should be annotated by @after suite method. Okay, so this suite level annotations before and after, that is cleanup activity as well as this initialization activity, that is available in TestNG from the beginning. But this kind of annotation support is not available in JUnit 5. Okay, so can we say that JUnit 5 is not considered as a better solution than TestNG only on this point? I would say, again, it is a subjective matter. I mean, it depends whether there is a need of this or not. Okay, if there is no need, then yes, again, this point does not give an leading edge to this TestNG. Okay, so again, depending upon what kind of scenarios are available in your test suite, okay, then we can work with this in a by comparing them in a similar way. Okay, now similarly, the second level of hierarchy, that is test level. Okay, again, TestNG supports before test and after test annotation, but that is not supported by JUnit 5. But when we come to the class level, then yes, before class and after class, this is available for TestNG, and The equivalent annotations available in JUnit 5 are at the rate before all and after all. Yes. So this kind of comparison, they work in the similar way. Okay. So this level initialization and cleanup activities we can perform in JUnit 5 as well as in TestNG. Similarly, at the method level, this initialization and cleanup activities, that means the method which is specified with this annotation, that would be executed with every method in that class that is being run. Okay. So the similar way, this before each and after each in JUnit 5 will work. Yeah. And let us see something. And apart from this, like concept of grouping, we can group some of the test methods. Okay, that is possible in TestNG. This concept is not applicable in JUnit 5, and also with certain groupings we have this again the initialization and cleanup activities for in the form of at the rate before group and at the rate after groups. Sorry, something I want to run on Eclipse. Okay. Okay. Let's come to some of the runtime feeling of different tests. As I said, I'm in this alpha test. Okay. Yeah. So inclusion of means MAVEN integration we have done with both JUnit 5 as well as TestNG. Okay. Now we are using them. Okay. Now suppose this annotation is not there, then what does it inform me? That this, I cannot say that this is my test method. All right. So this should not be considered as a test method. Now, suppose in order to include this, I have to make use of this annotation TEST, T capital. Okay, it is case sensitive. We should be careful while using this. All right. Now, how do I know? Because as I mentioned, means both the TestNG as well as JUnit 5, both annotations are named as exactly same way, right? Now, here I would be asked by Eclipse for that particular. So, if I'm trying to write my TestNG class and I want to use TestNG annotation, I should go for this org.testng annotation. If I'm interested in JUnit 4, then that package would be org.junit. Since I have included all the 3 unit testing framework like JUnit 4, JUnit 5, and JUnit 4, JUnit 5, and TestNG. That's why all the 3 are coming, because all the 3 supports the same annotation with the same name for the same purpose. Okay. So since I am working here with TestNG annotation, I will select for this. That's it. So it will automatically import my class corresponding to this at the rate test annotation, which is in the testng.annotations package. Yeah. So this is simply how we can define our test methods. Let me run it. How I can run it? Simply run as, say, for example, TestNG test. Yeah. So so you can see in what order they have executed, and also this TestNG provides this execution panel, and here I can see, okay, it provides me all the details that, as I said, if I am not specifying a particular test suite and other details, or I have not created any testng.xml for execution of this particular test, then basically by default they will consider it as a part of default suite. So topmost level of my testng.xml would be default suite. Then next level is default test, and then basically class. So which class this test class was? It was under TestNG sequencing package, okay, dot alpha test. So this is my class level, and underneath this class I was having 5 test methods, right? So in this way we have executed all of them, and obviously it is showing in what order they were executed, like 5th, 1st, 4th, 2nd, 3rd. So unless specified, they are executing in a alphabetical order of their name of the test methods, right? Now here their execution times are also shown, and I can see my one test of one is green color, that means that is passed, and there were 5 methods which were executed in total this much time. So this is just summary of the execution. In case any exception or something going wrong, then failed test, then that would be represented in the failed test section and summary like this. All right. So similarly, like let me cover another options available with I want to run in a particular sequence. Okay, so that could be test sequence.java. So test sequence, again same methods are there, but suppose I want to give some priority to my specific test method. I can do by specifying a particular parameter, like after @test annotation, I can specify that what should be the priority. Now this number or the priority number, yes please. Yes, any question?
No, I think that was a temporary blip or something. Okay, please carry on.
All right. Okay. So this was about we can decide that which method should be run in what sequence. Okay. So here we can specify the priority. Only thing to remember here, that priority, lower the number, higher the priority. So that would be executed first with the lowest priority. Okay. And even it accepts negative numbers. So obviously this method second, that would be having the lowest priority number, so that would be executing first. If I run this test method, I would say running as a TestNG test, I would get what I did. I run only this one, sorry. Let me run it as a class level. Okay. What
Anand, the last 2 minutes, in case if folks have any questions, maybe they can ask on this.
Okay. Okay. Let me take one important aspect. Okay. But thanks for reminding. Sorry.
Sure.
Yeah, so this is about sequencing. Okay, another thing which is available in my grouping. So for example, I can define my show grouping example, in which I can give some names to the groups. Okay. Now, for example, I want couple of tests, which test methods which should be a part of my sanity test group. Okay, some of them could be full regression test. Okay, and I can specify at each method, test method, that yes, this is a test method, but it should be part of both sanity as well as full regression test, or it should be only sanity test, or it should be only for full regression test, and so on. So all permutation combination I can specify here in the case of this one, and I can run it. But there is another mechanism through which I can create the test suite, that is creating testng.xml file. Okay, and for that I will just give you one glance of this one. So for example, as I mentioned, there is the topmost level of this XML file is the suite. Okay, and given some name, test is the next level, and then we define that groups. Okay, groups I want to run for full regression test, for example. Right now, under my classes which are underneath this test level, and this particular class I want to run. Okay, and so whichever test method which were specified by parameter group name full regression test, all those would be executed, and I can execute this XML file. This is known as testng.xml. Actually, I can rename it, and I can run as a testng suite.
This is the one which I have. It has basically this. It has basically a testng XML file. Is basically on port number 446.
All right. Now, in this way, all those which were qualifying for that particular group, they were only executed. Right. In this way, we can group them, and also there is a functionality of enabling, disabling. Right. For example, I can have something known as enabled equal to false or enabled equal to true. Okay, and we can use the priority as well as enabled equal to false or true to make it enable should it be run or it should be disabled. Yeah, that's one thing. And another is data readers. I mean, it can provide me a facility to read data from any data source. That data source may be like Excel file, it may be CSV file, or even for that matter, I can read my data from some database also. In contrast to this, let me quickly show something related to JUnit 5. Yeah, so we have seen there is a like at the rate before each, that is equivalent to at the rate before method annotation in TestNG. Okay, so this particular method that would be executed before every test method, because like this is my test method, this is my test method, this is my test method. Similarly, we have ordering annotations, like I can order with some numbers. Okay. Similarly, I have enabling and disabling based on which JVM. Okay, so even JUnit 5 provides me the flexibility. Suppose I want to execute this method only if Java 8 or Java 10. For rest of the JRE versions, I don't want to run, then I can specify like this. Or I can enable or disable based on some OS. Okay, it could be Linux, Mac, or Windows. I can specify that too. So it is giving a lot of functionality by JUnit 5 also. Okay, so we can enable, disable, prioritize like this. And also JUnit 5 is providing data-driven capabilities. I mean, it can take okay, so there is a method, annotation. Instead of annotation, basically we have to define a static method. Okay, and we have to define @method source as whatever method we have specified as that static method. Okay, this would act as a data provider for this particular test method F. I think I should stop here because we are already having a time overflow.
Yes, Anand. Thanks a lot. I think I'm afraid we have already reached the time. What I would suggest everyone on the call is that if you have any questions, please do reach out to Anand directly. And in the interest of time, we may not be able to take more questions. Anand, I'm just going to share my screen. Just take
Yeah.
the screen over.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Anand, once again for giving us a very detailed demo on the differences between TestNG and the different capabilities that JUnit 5 brings. Again, I'm sure those who are fans of JUnit may actually find this more interesting and continue to use it, while the TestNG folks find the features to be much better in TestNG. So thanks a lot again for sharing us this complete and detailed demo.
Thanks, Sundar sir. Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. Yeah.